Welcome everyone to our next session of our D103 Senior Advisor Webinar Series session. This is our session tonight on the topic of Make Your Website Work for Your Club. Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm Cassandra, Diva of Dialogue Lee. I'll be your facilitator for tonight. It does appear that our technology is working smoothly. I have everyone right now in what's known as lecture mode, which means that you'll be hearing me. I will get an opportunity to hear you during the Q&A. Of course, if you are watching this via the webinar component, you can type questions in the chat box. Otherwise, if you have verbal questions you want to ask, I'll get an opportunity to hear those during the Q&A segment. Welcome again to our session. Of course, for housekeeping, keep in mind, I have everyone in lecture mode. Simply that way, it'll have our background noise muted, or to have more of a silent mode, if you will, giving us a free background for the listening opportunity for everyone. If you have a question, when we get to the Q&A, I'll have an opportunity to unmute the line. Yet do be mindful, if your background has some noise, use your phone to mute yourself after you ask the question. That way we can keep the background noise limited. This call or this session is being recorded, and that way you will have the details where you can go back and you can listen to them at your leisure. I want to give thanks to our District 103 trio for supporting the vision I had for the senior webinar series, or I should say this senior advisor webinar series. It was a brainstorm of mine to be able to have a series of topics in which I could help our club leaders and our club members and even our district leaders. And I just want to thank our District 103 trio for supporting that vision and giving way for this opportunity. And I'm simply giving a shout out to our Club Growth Director, Greg Thompson, our Program Quality Director, Joe McCarty, as well as our District Director, Ivory Gwynn. I am, as I said before, Cassandra, Diva of Dialogue Lee, and some of you actually know who I am because you've attended various sessions that I've been facilitating, and also many of you were on the leadership team of District 103 when I served as the first district director. Yet some of you may not realize that I have been in Toastmasters long enough to not have dreadlocks, to then form dreadlocks, to have short dreadlocks, and to have 2 DTMs. The photo before you is showing my first DTM. I've been a member since January of 1998, so I have earned my Distinguished Toastmaster Award under the traditional program, and I should say I've earned my first Distinguished Toastmaster Award under the traditional program. I've earned a second one since then, and I'm making way for earning a third Distinguished Toastmaster Award under the Pathways program. So I'm glad to be involved in this organization and to still be learning something from the organization, and I'm happy to have earned the Distinguished Toastmaster Award. I'm also happy to have been in the organization long enough to serve as a club officer. As a matter of fact, if you've been with me for any of the previous D103 Senior Advisor Webinar Series sessions, you will have heard me talk about the various club officer roles, and I've served in all 7 of them. The photo before you just happens to show one of the years when I was club treasurer and the team of club officers that's with me. And actually, I'm glad I found this photo. I want to give a shout out to our area director, the individual who was our area director at the time, and that was Deborah Blackman Parrish. She was the first area director who installed our club officers and provided us with a token of appreciation, support, and encouragement. And I love this photo because we each got a yellow rose for serving as a club officer that year. And I think that year I was serving as club treasurer, and I'm happy to be in the photo with the entire team of the 7 club officers for my Whale Toastmasters Club that year. And again, I give a whoop whoop to Deborah Blackman Parrish for making us feel special that year in serving as a club officer. Serving as a club officer, I've done since 1998. I've also served as a district officer. The photo before you now is showing when I received from Toastmasters International in Vancouver a special award for having served as the program quality director. Program quality director I served for District 30. That's the year before District 30 and District 103 became two separate districts. Now keep in mind, I had served District 30 before as an area director, as a division governor. I did that twice. I also served as a club retention chair for District 30. Then I moved into the program quality director role, and in serving in that role, I did such a great job in focusing in on helping our members and our leaders and focusing on club quality and education and training that Toastmasters International awarded me with the Excellence in Program Quality Award. Many of you have heard me talk about that award before. I was happy to find a photo of that exchange. And if you see my face is looking at the award like, whoa, this is actually really cool. And it's an honor for them to recognize the hard work I put into my role as program quality director. And it also recognizes the hard work that all of our clubs did that year because our clubs were distinguished or higher. And that's how I was able to earn that award. So kudos to everyone who was a part of District 30 during that time and everybody that's a part of District 103. So thank you for that. Speaking of District 103, I love having served as the first district director of District 103. In the year in which I served as district director, my theme was express your gifts. Express your gifts for the district, and that gave all of our club leaders, our club members, and our district leaders an opportunity to focus on their goals, initiatives, focus, technical skills, as well as their success. So it was wonderful to have that experience. I helped to set the foundation for the district, and that was a role that came directly after being program quality director. Yet I'll tell you, having served as a club officer in all 7 of the roles, I'm glad I had that experience because I needed that knowledge and awareness for the role of district director, and it was a great opportunity for leadership and management, and also a great opportunity to stretch my communication skills. Speaking of stretching my communication skills, right now I'm stretching my writing skills. I have a special webinar that's going on right now, but let me not talk about the webinar in this moment because before you, what's being shown is what's known as the Leadership Legacy Series. The Leadership Legacy Series gives me an opportunity to stretch my writing skills. It gives me a chance to create various reports, again, for the benefit of club members, club leaders, as well as district leaders. And there are a variety of topics that I've covered so far. Right now, there are 10 special reports, and many of you have had an opportunity to download those when you've registered for the various webinars. And at some point, I'll make certain that I have in one place all of the reports where you can access them through District 103. For now, you can visit my website at www.divaofdialogue.com/Toastmasters, and you can access those reports there. I mentioned that I'm stretching my writing skills, or I'm stretching my communication skills, and there's one more goal that I have besides earning a 3rd Distinguished Toastmaster under Pathways. I actually want to earn the Accredited Speaker certification. That gives me a chance to show Toastmasters International that I, someone who has been using my speaking skills, my communication skills, and generating a living from that, that I do have what it takes to be one of their elite speakers within the organization. It's a requirement, or I should say, it's a process to earn that Distinguished Award, yet it is one of the final awards that Toastmasters International has that a member can earn, and I am on the path for that award. And again, it helps to stretch me further as a communicator. As I've been stretching myself as a leader, I'm now focused in on stretching myself as a communicator. I mentioned I'm doing the webinar series. Of course, that's stretching my skills as a communicator as well. It's stretching my ability to use technology, and it's also helping me to make an easier transition into Pathways, which is, of course, allowing us to use technology more in the development of our skills. I am happy with tonight's session. That tonight's session gives me a chance to talk a little bit more about technology from the standpoint of a website. And I should also say social media too. When I go through the information for making your website work for you, many of the suggestions and ideas and techniques that I mentioned, you will find, yes, they're good for a website, yet they're also good for social media as well. The purpose of this session, as I said, it's all about making your website work for your club. I want to make certain that I can provide you with ideas that will help to make your club website useful to your guests. So that means people who are not a member of your club yet. Someone from the general public who's been searching for a Toastmaster club, they came across your website or your social media page, and they're interested in finding out what your club is all about. I want to make certain that whatever website or social media page they hit, they're able to get information that's useful for them to come out and visit your club. Now, of course, once those guests become a member, and even for your current members, I want to make certain that your website or your social media pages are valuable for your members. I look at websites as being a way to retain your current members. Websites are a recruitment tool, and websites are also a retention tool. And tonight, I want to share with you ideas that can help with the recruitment of guests and the retention of members. And with the 12 suggestions that you'll get, I pray that you'll be able to take at least something from those suggestions, go back and make your websites or social media pages work for your club. Now, as I mentioned, I want to give you 12 ideas that will help to make your website work for your club. Let's go ahead and begin understanding what those 12 ideas are. Now, I mentioned, although the title of the session is about making your website work for your club, it can also be make your social media page work for your club as well. Both a website and a social media page will need to have details. That is the first idea about making certain that your website can work for your club. Cover key details. Make certain that you give specific information that is helpful to a guest to know who you are and what you do. Also, make certain that there are details on your website or social media page that will be valuable for your members for their journey within Toastmasters. Keep in mind, Toastmasters International just came out with some really cool scripts. They have scripts for every single role that we perform in a club meeting. Whether a member is a Toastmaster or a speech evaluator or the timer or the eye counter or any of the other roles, there's now a script that the members can use. That script is part of the details that you can include on your club's website or social media page to make certain that your members have access to it. That way they can download that document and use it in your club meetings. Make certain that you include the details. Now, one more detail I would make certain that you have, and I know this might sound counterintuitive, or as some of you would say, well, Cassandra, come on now, we already know that. Yet you'll be surprised. Be certain that your website or your social media page states the time and location of your meetings. Sometimes it's there, and it's easy to find, yet on some sites, it's not as easy to find those details. So if a guest is coming to your site, make certain they can quickly find those details. After making certain that your website is detailed, include information. I say make your website informational. Now, in making your website informational, I go back to a lesson that I learned when I was an English major and even when I worked in media relations. I had a boss who used to tell us, anytime you write a press release, your press release should answer the 5 W's and the 1 H. Well, I knew what he meant about the 5 W's and the 1 H because as an English major in school, I had to make certain that the 5 W's and 1 H's were included or answered in my essays or in my research papers. Of course, you know what the 5 W's and 1 H is. They're the simple questions of who, what, when, where, why, and how. In a website, you can have your home page answering all of those different questions. Who your club is, or who the members are that make up your club. Where your club meets, how your club came about, why your club exists. And actually, I said you can have your home page give all those details. Yet guess what? On a website, you can have separate pages giving those details as well. When I mentioned who your club is and why your club came about, a why page could be an About Us page, or a how page could be an About Us page. I know with Toastmasters International having the template of a club website that we can get through freetoasthost.org, Free Toast Host already has a page that is generated that has a meetings location or meetings directions page, as well as a Meet Our Members page, and along with the home page. Between those 3 pages alone, you can begin to answer who, what, when, where, why, and how. Of course, other pages can answer the other questions as well. It depends upon how detailed you want to be with that info. However, keep in mind, in order for your website to be informational, you want to make certain you're giving the general public and even your newer members the who, what, when, where, why, and how of your clubs. I would also take this a step further. I'm mentioning making your website informational. You can also make your social media pages informational too. Facebook, I know, has now the About Us page that you can have there. And depends upon if you're using Pinterest or Instagram, whatever your social media page is that you're using, you can figure out how you want to best answer who, what, when, where, why, and how. Your formatting will be based on the resource you're using or the platform you're using. Yet keep in mind, answering the 5 W's and the 1 H helps to give the general public key information about your club, in addition to making certain your newer members and your seasoned members have key information about your club as well. Again, make your club website detailed and also make it informational. Next, I would say make your website varied. Social media does a great job with giving you the opportunity with making your website or your social media pages varied. And what varied means is simply having a variety or different types of information listed. Free Toast Host is the website I use for my home club, the Wrightwood Ashburn Overcomers Way-O Toastmasters Club. With Free Toast Host, the templates that are already provided and the pages that are there, it allows you to have a variety of information that you can have listed. Yet keep in mind, some clubs are not using a website at all. They're simply using a Facebook page, or they're using a meetup group. Those can have posts that are varied as well. Now, when I say posts, I'm thinking you can have information listed about club members. You can have information listed about the club in general. You can have information posted by members. You can have information posted by guests. It really depends, again, on the type of platform you're using, the type of information you want to have listed. That will help to determine the variety of information that you'll put on your website. One of the key things I love about Free Toast Host is that on the home page in and of itself, it gives you a chance to have photos, text, and video. And of course, with photos of real people are always good and eye-catchy. I like not only the photos of real people from the stock images that Toastmasters International allows us to use. Really what I love most are the photos and images of my real club members, because when I can have on the website our members in action on the home page or in that photo, it makes it real and brings more of a connection to a guest being able to see real people using the Toastmaster program. So again, photos and text and videos, or a post and a comment or a discussion board, whatever platform you're using, consider having variety in order to give your guests and your members something to view and information that they can see in a variety of ways. So make it detailed, make the website informational, and make the website varied. Another idea for your website is to make the language action-oriented. Action-oriented is to become mindful of the verbs that you use on your website. Keep those verbs in the active voice. Visit, attend. Those are strong, good words that you can have on your website, especially for guests. Those words help to let them know they can come to your meetings. Those words also cause them to action. Remember, with a website or even a social media page being a recruitment tool, we want action words that help with recruitment. I also mentioned that websites are a retention tool too. And with it being a retention tool, we're keeping the current members we have, and we're helping to have them be engaged a lot more with the club. There are certain buzzwords that are going to resonate with them for keeping them involved, such as download or sign up. Those action words can work for members, whereas attend or visit can work for your guests. Be mindful of the language that you use on your website, your social media pages, whatever platform you use. Consider making certain the language is action-oriented. Action-oriented, varied, informational, detailed, those are simply 4 ideas so far in making certain that your club website can work for the benefit of recruiting guests and retaining members. Let's look at 2 more ideas right now. Here's another one. I want your website to be operational. What operational means is that you use the features of your website to the fullest abilities of that website. Now, you may have noticed I've been mentioning freetoasthost.org. freetoasthost.org is the website for Toastmaster clubs that I'm most familiar with, simply because my club has been using it now for almost 10 years. It's evolved over time. It's become a lot better. And when I think about this concept or this idea of making your website operational, with pathways, freetoasthost.org is superb. Now again, here's what I mean by operational. The website will have certain features, especially the freetoasthost.org website. In being operational, that means there will be certain features that are very specific for members and other features that will be very specific for club officers. Let me focus on freetoasthost.org. Members. Members can put a profile, put a bio, have a photo, sign up for meeting roles at an upcoming meeting. Members can download resources in which they can use at a club meeting. The club website being operational for a member, it exposes them to a variety of things they can do. And as I said, one of the ways in which they can be engaged with the website is to promote themselves. So with their photo, their bio, they could promote themselves. Also, the website for members can help them to be engaged and active with their own learning by 1, signing up for meeting roles, and or 2, downloading any of those additional resources you've made available for them to use at club meetings. Yet that's just the side for club members. The club website, especially the freetoasthost.org website being operational for members, what I mentioned in that moment was only a few of the features in which it can be operational for members. Yet remember, I also said that it can be operational for club leaders. Ooh, the freetoasthost.org website, remember, it is built for Toastmaster clubs, which means, as I've said before, over the years, the website functionality has become much better, and they've been very mindful of making it operational for club leaders. For instance, if you are the club secretary, you can now keep attendance on the freetoasthost.org website. If you, and I should say the freetoasthost.org website for your club. So with your club, you can keep attendance. Also, club treasurers can send out invoices directly from that website to all club members because there's a built-in feature specifically for club treasurers. There's also a built-in feature specifically for vice presidents of membership. Vice presidents of membership can keep track of guests. They can keep track of former members. They can also keep track of current members. They have the membership management feature of that website that allows the vice president of membership to keep track of who's in your club, who's been in your club, and that way you can have that history. Now, I know I'm missing some of the operational features because I only mentioned 3 of the club officers, yet you get the gist of what I'm saying here about the freetoasthost.org website in particular. Whatever website you're using, you want it to be as operational as possible for not only your members, yet for your club officers. And as I said, Free Toast Host is geared toward Toastmasters clubs, which means they thought about what would a club president need to know? What would a vice president of education need to have access to? What's helpful for a club president or a secretary and treasurer? What would a vice president of membership or vice president of public relations find useful in their role? And that's how they've tailored the website and its functionality over the years. I would say if your club isn't yet using a website from Free Toast Host, I want you to investigate using it. The template is really easy to figure out, and once you get in and start navigating behind the scenes, you'll see many of the operational features I'm talking about. I will say this because I don't want to miss this point when I'm talking about it being operational. I know I started with the members being able to download scripts and sign up for meeting roles. Well, guess what else members can do? In Pathways, when you sign up for a speech at your club meeting and you're speaking from Pathways, you can now sign up, identify which path you're in, which speech it is from Pathways, and automatically download 2 key resources for your evaluator and for you. One of those resources is a project description, and the other one is the evaluation form. I love Free Toast Host because they figured that out about a year or so ago. They made certain that they made the Free Toast Host website much more compatible with what we're experiencing with this transition from the traditional program into Pathways. It is awesome to see members of my club who are in Pathways choose their path, choose their speech, put in their speech title, put in their speech introduction information, and then bring to the meeting their evaluation form for their evaluator. And many of them staple the project description to the top of that evaluation form. So if you're evaluating them, you know what that project description is letting you know that speech is supposed to be about as well. So the operational side of your website or your social media page, you want to be thinking about that. And again, operational is making certain that it has tools and resources that will make your members' lives easier and also make the role of your club officers go much more smoothly. Most other websites won't have the same features of freetoasthost.org, which is why I put most of my attention and comments into freetoasthost.org. And as you can tell, I'm excited about it. I love the updates and the upgrades, and things will only get better. Yet I will say that that platform is very mindful of who we are as Toastmaster members as well as who we are as club leaders, and all of the tools and resources we need are built into that platform right now. So keep in mind, your club website should be detailed. It should be informational. It should have variety or varied information on it. It should also include action-oriented language, and it should also be operational, making certain tools that your members and leaders need are at their easy disposal. Let's look at making certain now that your website or your social media page is focused. Now, when I say focused, I want you to actually pay attention to an area that Toastmasters International teaches us at the district level for marketing our district, and that is to understand who your target audience is. Now, I remember when I took public relations training in the first year when I was district director for District 103. I had to take public relations training from Toastmasters International so I could understand more about this whole way of public relations at the district level. A key idea that I learned at the district level that I don't think I was aware of at the club level, and that is you must know who your target audience is. Who's your club really speaking to? Now, at a district level, District 103 has over 100 clubs. We are speaking to a multitude of people because every club has its own personality, its own target audience, and that's a great thing because we want that diversity within the district. For your club, you have to become very mindful of the type of people you want in your club as a member. Now, we know, and especially I observed this when we were still a part of District 30, we knew there were advanced clubs. We also knew there were clubs specifically for professional speakers. Currently, right now in District 103, we have a club that is specifically for project managers. Those are great to know. And for them, they're very clear and focused on who their club is speaking to. Who is your club speaking to? What's your focus for recruiting members? Who does your club want in it as members? Get focused on your target audience. Again, your audience could be anyone who wants to improve their communication skills. Or it could be mothers returning to work who wants to improve their communication skills. Or it could be civil engineers who are looking to improve their communication and leadership skills. You get the gist of what I'm saying here. Every club can have a certain audience that it is tailoring or focusing on, yet you and your members want to get very clear on that. I know based on the public relations training and also when we started rebranding due to the Toastmaster rebrand back in 2010 and 2011, my home club had to get very clear on who do we want in our club? Who are our audiences that we're looking for, or our target members, I should say? What we recognized is we are a community club. We meet at a public library. We want anyone who's available to attend the meeting and to become members. However, we do want people who are professional-minded. So what that means is you don't necessarily need to be a professional working in corporate America. You just need to be professional and be about the business of improving your communication and leadership skills. You can be a stay-at-home mom and be professional-minded. You can be a manager in corporate America and be professional-minded. You can be a community activist and be professional-minded. We know in WAO we're looking for those professional-minded, action-oriented individuals who want to improve their communication and leadership skills. And not just improve their communication and leadership skills, but be about the business of improving in their communication and leadership skills. And when we say be about the business, that tends to put a little bit more of an expectation on our members, which means you're not coming into a WAO meeting just sitting back and listening to all of us give speeches and you don't give a speech at all. And when it's time to lead this club, the expectation is you're going to step into your leadership ability and help lead this club as well. We're not going to be the only ones that's doing that. So Toastmasters is all about improving communication and leadership skills. Your club wants to get very focused on the type of individuals you want to bring into your club who will use the program for improving communication, and leadership skills. Your target audience might be project managers. Your target audience might be ministers. It doesn't really matter who your target audience is, just as long as you're clear on that so you can tailor the language of your website or social media page to speak to them. Now, sometime next month, we will have a session on Free Toast Host, that is, and what we'll do is look at some examples of clubs that are using freetoasthost.org, and we'll look at their target audiences and see if we can figure out from their club's website if they have clearly delineated who their target audience is, and if we can figure that out if we were deciding to join that club or not. So get focused. Know very clearly who you're speaking to. You want that language to be in your website information. You want those buzzwords to be provided in the social media details. You just want to make certain that whoever you are speaking to, whoever you want to have in your club as a member, they know it and they can clearly figure that out from the information you've provided on your website. You'll make certain that the website is detailed. You'll also include information and make that website informational. It'll be varied, it'll be action-oriented and operational, yet we will also make sure that it is focused. And again, focus is clearly identifying your target audience. Now, to continue on the ideas of expanding this website and making it work for your club, I want you to make certain that it's distinct. And what I mean by distinct, I want you to think about two key things. Number one, it should be distinct with Toastmaster branding. And number two, it should be distinct with information about your club in particular. You might have noticed in the last point on being focused, I talked about having taken public relations training from Toastmasters International. The great thing was I didn't have to go anywhere for the training. It was a webinar that I took in the comfort of my own home, and it was a resource that I was able to use throughout the year along with my public relations manager, and a shout out to Anise Anderson. She and I found that webinar to be extremely helpful in giving us more ideas on how we should promote the district. Yet we also figured out some of what we learned in that webinar we could use at the club level too, and it's information that I've still been using for my home club as well. Yet in learning about the other public relations ideas, something that I learned from the public relations training was all about Toastmasters branding. Now, I mentioned in 2010, 2011, around that time frame, Toastmasters International changed the logo, changed the colors, started to use the coloring that's completely different than before. As a matter of fact, when I think back to the image of me holding up my DTM plaque, it actually has the old logo on there. So my new DTM plaque has the new logo on there. Again, branding purposes. So when I have those plaques on my wall, I'll be able to see, oh yeah, organization has evolved and changed. Things have become different, and things have definitely become different with branding. Your website should include the appropriate branding information on it. Now, Toastmasters International has gone through a lot of effort over these last 3-4 years to ensure that you as a club member, or I should say as a club leader, actually has access to the appropriate logos and colors and banners and templates, because they want everything to be consistent. Now, if you pay attention to the webinar slides that I use, I am actually using the template colors of Toastmasters International, the branding colors, that is. I have downloaded into my personal collection what they call the visual guidelines. It's a manual for the visual guidelines, and it tells you details about fonts to use, and it tells you the colors. Now, I find I use the visual guideline manual much more heavily for the color scheme, because when I'm in Word, or if I'm in Excel, or if I'm in PowerPoint, or if I'm creating a flyer, or if I'm updating something on my club's website, I want to use the appropriate color: red, burgundy, navy, gray, and yellow. There are certain numbers that help to provide those colors. The branding is important. Toastmasters has branded so there's a consistency across the world. It doesn't matter where you go in the world. If someone says they are a Toastmaster club, you should see the same logo and the same color scheme that you use in your club. So in being distinct, you wanted to have the distinct look, the distinct branding of Toastmasters International. Keep in mind, I also mentioned in being distinct, it should be distinct with information on your club. Now, we're talking about a club website, making it work for your club. When someone does a Google search or even types in the name of your club website, when it comes up, it should distinctly say the Wrightwood Ashburn Overcomers Wayo Toastmasters Club. Or it should very clearly state Saturday Sunrise Toastmasters Club. No one should ever be confused that it's the Bold Literary Talkers Toastmasters Club. They should definitely know that it's the Viewmasters Toastmasters Club. Do you get where I'm going with this? Meaning, on that home page, your club name should be there. If you have an image of your club's banner, because the club banner has your name and your club's number on there, putting that banner on the home page is great too. Of course, having photos of your members on the home page, that's awesome as well. No one should ever go to the website for your club and be confused that it's your club, if you get what I'm saying here. So the distinctiveness for branding and the distinctiveness for recognizing it's your club, those are two key areas to pay attention to. Of course, clubs like to do their own thing. Yet remember, in 2010 and 2011, Toastmasters International banned us from doing our own thing, which means we can't create our own club logo. Nope, we have to use the Toastmasters International logo. We can't come up with our own colors as a club. We must use the colors of the organization. Yet what we can do for our club website is put the name of our club, the number of our club all over that website so people have that ingrained in their minds when they visit it. Make your club website distinct. Use the appropriate branding and make certain it is branded specifically for your club. Club name, club number, member photos, those are three of the key ways to make it distinct for your club. Now, we've talked about making your club website work, and we talked about making the website work for your club by keeping it detailed, informational, varied, action-oriented, operational, focused, and distinct. Now let's uncover this idea of making it interactive. Now, some of you are probably thinking, well, Cassandra, a website may not be as interactive as a social media page, and I would totally agree with you on that. With the interactive component, as I'm thinking about the Free Toast Host website in particular, there isn't any social media posts that appear on that site, or there aren't any polls that you can do on that site. Yet if you're using Facebook page, or if you're using a meetup group, then you perhaps can make your website more interactive. Yet when I think about Free Toast Host itself, right now, video is what comes to mind the most about making that interactive. I mentioned before that with Free Toast Host, you can have text, you can have photos, and you can have video. Well, wouldn't it be great to have on your home page a video of someone answering a table topic question? that someone should be a member of your club who actually gave you permission to use the video, of course. Yet it would be great for a guest who's visiting your club for the first time or to visiting your club website for the first time for them to see someone actually answering a table topic question. Or perhaps you have the president delivering a report to the club members or club officers delivering a report, and that's on video. Let's see, what else? Speeches, of course. You can have speeches that are recorded, that are placed on the website, and it gives some interactivity right there on your club website as opposed to a guest or a member having to go over to a YouTube channel or another Facebook page. The idea with the website being interactive is to make certain that you have something for your visitors, the guests and your members to actually do. They can watch a video, they can answer a poll, they can make a post, and of course, notice with the phrasing I'm stating, I'm leading us beyond just the club website. Free Toast Host is limited in its interactivity. However, social media, oh, you can be interactive all day long. Again, depends upon which platform you're using. Meetup, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whichever medium you're using or whichever platform you're using, you can decide what you want the interactivity to be, and you can, of course, change that up, and that helps to bring in variety to your site. Keep it detailed, of course. Make certain it's informational. Keep it varied. Have action-oriented language. Make it operational for both members and leaders. Also, have it be focused so that way people know your site is talking to them. Speaking of talking to them, let them know that they're in the right place because it's distinct. They know it's a Toastmasters club, and they know it's your club in particular because you have distinct information that lets them know that. And of course, it's interactive. They can do something while they're there. In keeping with these ideas of making sure your website is working for your club, I want you to consider making your website acknowledging. Now, when I talk about acknowledging, I'm actually thinking about awards, recognition, giving a shout out. It's easier to do acknowledgments and recognition on social media, of course. It's faster. You can post pictures of people receiving awards. Yeah, I want you to consider having that information on your club website as well. Meet the member page is one of the pages I mentioned that freetoasthost.org gives you as part of the website template. You can also have a club success page or a distinguished club success page. I'll never forget years ago I had visited the Oak Lawn Toastmasters Club website. They too were using the freetoasthost.com or .org platform. And what I noticed in their pages, they listed a DCP success page. I thought, that's such a clever idea. Literally, they were tracking their club success in the Distinguished Club program. Not only were they tracking the goals they were achieving, yet they were also tracking the members who earned the awards or perform certain functions that help them to earn those goals. I borrowed that idea for the WAO website. It's been a great resource for our club leadership and for our club membership for a few years now. That DCP page is an acknowledgement page. If a guest is coming to our website and they're clicking through the various pages, you know, the home page, the meeting information page, the what's this club all about, and become a member, how much does it cost to join the club, they can get those details. But if they go a little bit further, because it says WAO DCP success, they might be curious and go, oh, what is this? They click that page and they're going to see over the history of our club being in existence, we have been an award-winning club ever since, which means in our environment, if we are an award-winning club, we must be doing things to help the club environment to be successful for the growth of our members and our leaders. If people are there to grow as a communicator and a leader, or a speaker and a leader, we have members that are earning those awards that prove it. So the acknowledgement page could be a special page right on the freetoasthost.org website. It could be a page specifically for the club, such as the DCP Success page, or it could be an acknowledgement page just for the members, our superstars of 2020, whatever you name the page. It really is up to you. It might be an achievement page, or it simply may be on social media. Every chance you get, you're posting photos, you're highlighting members and their success, yet you're letting the members and the world know that your members are working to improve themselves in communication and leadership, and they're earning awards in doing so. Now, what I love about Pathways, and I chuckle because I said to a member recently, I said, in Pathways, members can earn awards so much faster than we could under the traditional program that we're going to be recognizing members all the time. And that is very true. Isn't that wonderful, though? Because that now gives you more content to put on your website, fresh content to put on your website. The details don't have to stay the same. Yeah, someone said, Cassandra, a website is static. It doesn't change often. And to an extent, that's true. Yet for a home page, you can update that home page as often as you like, whereas the other pages might be the static ones. Yet you will decide whether it's a website you're using or a social media platform that you're using. You'll decide how often you'll update. Social media, of course, without, hands down, I should say, social media definitely gets updated much more frequently than a website. Yet if you're using a website, keep in mind, every time your members are earning awards, it's a perfect way to make your website an acknowledgement or an acknowledging tool of the efforts of your members and leaders as well. So far, we've covered some of the 12 ideas. We've talked about making the website detailed and informational as well as varied. We also looked at making certain your website can have action-oriented language and it's operational for members and leaders and it's focused towards your target audience. We even looked at making certain your website is distinct, interactive, and acknowledging. Now, let's take a look at making certain it's lively. Now, when I talk about lively, I think it can tie into the interactive component. Yet I'm really looking at interactive and lively as being two separate ideas here, because lively really is tying back to the concept of colors, fonts, imagery, liveliness. Now, remember I said Toastmasters International has a distinct brand, and they want every club to be using the distinct brand. Well, when you download the visual guideline or the visual branding guideline, and whatever the language is, I'll refer to that a little later when I show you the website page that you can get that from, the idea is the liveliness can come from the fonts you use, from the color scheme you use, and also from the different tools that Toastmasters International has already provided that you can use. Now, I mentioned earlier they have banners. I know for the district level and for the club level, they have banners you can put on your website. They recently updated banners and gave us a completely different set. I think they gave us 6 new options, and the color schemes are still within the color scheme that you see in this PowerPoint, which is within the color scheme of the new brand, yet they are organized slightly different, and it's a different look than the banners from before. They also have something else called, I think they're called call-outs actually, different images that you can put into your flyers and your websites. Again, different ways to make your website or your social media pages more lively. Ooh, and speaking of social media, Toastmasters, of course, is on social media. So they have their own Facebook group. They have their own Twitter page. What they've also done is made certain that they came up with Facebook and Twitter branding templates that you can use that helps to be within the same distinctive branding, and it's also helping to make your social media platform very lively with the colors and the shadings and the images as well. So they have come up with a variety of tools. And again, in a moment, I'll share with you where you can access that information, and you'll see they've come up with a variety of tools to help make certain websites and social media pages can be distinct, yet they can also be lively. Of course, remember who you are focusing on, meaning who's your target audience. Take into account who your target audience is as you're looking at being distinct and you're looking at having your website be lively. You do, of course, want to make certain that it all ties together. Tying everything together. So far, we've talked about ideas to help make your website work for your club, and we've said make it detailed and informational and varied. Keep it action-oriented, operational, and focused. Have it be distinct as well as interactive and acknowledging. And we concluded with making it lively. And remember, I said lively ties into being distinct, yet is very specific on looking at colors and shadings and shapes and imagery to make certain that your website is speaking to your target audience. Another idea for your website is to make certain your website is organized. By nature, I'm a very logical, organized individual. Going to a website where colors are off and it's hard to read and fonts don't make sense and it's hard to find information, it throws me off. I know there are guests who are going to visit our clubs that will be the same. So when I'm thinking about managing the WAYO website, I'm always thinking about, is it easy for the guests to find the information? But I also have to think about, is it easy for the members to find the information as well? I'll never forget about 2 years ago during a dues renewal cycle, I had a member get very irate. I thought we had on our website a way for the members to renew their dues. I can't find that information. Now I'm thinking to myself, there's a link that says remain a WAYO member right on the home page. It's probably in purple. And then on the left-hand side, there's a tab that says remain a WAYO member. But the member was very adamant. It should be easy to find. I shouldn't have to search on this website to find that information. Well, I had to take into account that member's comment. Although I did ask other members if they too were having a hard time finding that information and no one else was having a hard time finding that information, I did take a look at if this member is having a hard time finding this information, will members in the future have a hard time finding the information? So I had to go in and make a couple of tweaks and make certain that when we went into our dues renewal cycle, make it easy in the invoice. Make it easy in the notice that talks about renewing dues. Give the members the very specific link. Don't just tell them, go to the website and renew your dues. No, I need to tell them, go to the website at https://WAO:// and whatever that address was. So that was something I had to make certain that I changed because it wasn't as organized for everyone. If one person is having a glitch with it, 10 people will eventually have a glitch with it. Let's see how we can troubleshoot and make it more organized so no one has a glitch with it. Yeah, keep that in mind about your guests as well. Guests may not ever show up at your club meetings at all, which means you and your club members should be looking at both your website and or your social media platforms to determine, is the information easy for them to find? Is it organized in a way that makes sense for them to access it and or download it? The template website of Free Toast Host, it makes it really easy to keep information in an organized fashion. Also, social media platforms. It helps to make the information easy as well. Yet we know with social media, though, because posts fall upon each other, the more current the post, the easier it is to find. The more valuable the information, the more up top you'll need to have those details. So keep in mind, again, whichever platform you're using, what's going to be the best way to organize that information. Yet keep in mind, you want it to be organized for your guests to find what they need or what they must know. And you also want it to be organized for your members to find what they need as well as what they must know also. Now, we're coming to the final idea for making your club website work for you. So far, we've talked about making that club website detailed and informational, varied and action-oriented, operational and focused, distinct and interactive, acknowledging and lively, as well as organized. Now, here is the final idea for making your club website work for you, and that is to make certain that it is grammatically correct. Grammar, spelling, punctuation marks, for me, is a huge thing. Number one, by education, I'm an English major. By profession, I worked with individuals in the education field, the healthcare field, the legal field, where grammar spoke to your credibility and your authority. So I was always in environments where grammar was important. In managing the website for my home club, grammar is still important because, remember, our target audience is for the professional-minded individual. Most professional-minded individuals are not using a lot of incorrect grammar and punctuation marks, right? So I have to make certain that the website is being very mindful of that. Now, will there be an error or two that'll be on the website? Of course there will from time to time. Yet in managing that website, I need to make certain that the entire website is not full of grammatical errors. As do you. Whoever your target audience is, keep in mind, they're going to be paying attention to how well your sentences are written, how well you're using punctuation marks. And for our organization being multi-generational, please do not go with all caps. Also, don't go with all lowercase, and make certain you are not running everything together without the use of a punctuation mark. I mentioned that our organization is multi-generational, which means there will be individuals in your clubs that still love title case and sentence case and paragraphs. We have individuals now who are okay with everything being in lowercase and using a lot of abbreviations. And I just received in a text message today an initial that I had to spend time thinking. I'm like, O-M-W? O-M-W? What is that? And I thought, where's my niece when I need my text messaging lingo clarification? And then I figured it out on my way. On my way. I had to think about the context in which I was receiving the text message. But then I thought about the writing side. And I said, see, you have to know who your audience is. Because although my friend who was sending me the message was letting me know he was on his way, he is someone who uses shortened text language all the time. Typically, I don't. I will spell out the phrase, on my way. He forgot that when he sent OMW. Well, I learned something new today, yet I got reminded about knowing your audience, and I got reminded about the concept of grammar. Not everyone will be into the new lingo. So keep in mind, your website will be speaking to individuals, again, who are accustomed to sentence case, title case, paragraphs, punctuation marks, correct grammar. They want to be able to see that information in the website or on the social media pages. Your social media pages can have some creativity and liberty. And I love that word. I love Gary Behrens, who is our District 103 newsletter editor. Gary said to me just recently, he said, Cassandra, in some aspects of the newsletter, I take a few liberties just because of spacing. I was like, I like that, Gary. I got that. I understand. Flow with your creativity. And he's right. For what he was doing in that situation, it wasn't going to be grammatically correct. However, it was going to be understandable, and it had a level of creativity. So your social media pages will more than likely have more creativity and take a few more liberties and have some things not always be grammatically correct. Yet do keep in mind, again, who are you focused on? Who's your target audience? What is the message you're sending? And will having correct grammar be best for your website or your social media pages? That is only for you to be able to answer. Again, for me, I'm an English major, so anything that's not grammatically correct bugs me, whether it's someone else that made the error or even if it's me that made the error. If it's me that made the error, oh, really, we got an issue there, because I then say, how did I not see that with all of the editing and proofreading that I do? So anyhow, we know that websites can be useful, yet we have to be very strategic in how we set up those websites. We also want to be strategic in how we maintain those websites too. Whether it's an actual website or a social media platform that you use, the ideas of making your website detailed and informational, varied and action-oriented, operational, focused, distinct, interactive, acknowledging, lively, organized, and grammatically correct can help you to recruit new members and retain current members. Now, I mentioned before I would tell you the resource that you could use, and that is on Toastmasters International website. I love the fact that Toastmasters International is full of resources for us as club members, club leaders, and district leaders. The brand portal happens to be one of the resources that all of us have access to. As a matter of fact, the way you would find the brand portal is to go to the tab that says Leadership Central. When you click on Leadership Central, there will be about, I say, maybe 12 options, and it'll be listed, it depends upon how your computer lists it out, it may be listed in 3 columns of information. I know that's how my computer does it. Yet when you click Leadership Central, that tab, somewhere on the left, you're going to see a link that says Brand Portal. Brand Portal then opens up to a page that looks similar to what's before you now. Everything on the Brand Portal page is not in this image before you. However, what you can see that's in the image before you are the brand manuals, which is the manual I was referring to that tells you the colors and the fonts and the imagery to use. You'll also see it says branded business cards, which means you could create your own Toastmasters business cards using the templates that's there. Speaking of templates, they give you a stationary template. Whether you are a club that needs a meeting agenda or meeting minutes templates, or a district that needs a meeting agenda, the stationary templates give you a variety of templates that you can use at both the club and the district level. The website templates link, that is the one that I have been referring to that will give you access to freetoasthost.org. When you go to the website templates page, it's going to actually give you a description about having a freetoasthost.org website for your club and or for your district. Key information is listed there. You can sign up for the actual template on that page, or I should say you can access the link that allows you to sign up for the website from that page. Yet with the brand portal, there's a lot of information. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking if you scroll down a little bit more, if I had been able to capture it in this image here, you would be able to see much more information that's on the brand portal page, such as the logos, the images, and templates. And that's a video, actually, that plays for you once that page opens up. This is a resource page for every club officer, from the president to the sergeant at arms, yet definitely for the vice president of public relations. This is a key page that you can use all year long to help brand your club and build your website. And speaking of branding your club, there is a link that says brand photo contest. I don't know if you knew this, yet Toastmasters International does a brand photo contest every month, where clubs around the world can submit a photo of themselves with their club branding, and the international team will select winners. And I think now with social media, a lot of the winners are being chosen a lot faster, being posted on social media pages as well as being printed in the Toastmasters magazine. Your vice president of public relations can go to the brand photo contest page, read up on the details, and perhaps that's something that your club can do for fun to get your club really more exposed and possibly to have new photos of your entire club using the Toastmaster brand. Branding doesn't have to be just with your club banner. It can be with the Toastmasters magazine. It could be you at a conference. It doesn't matter what your club decides will be your branding. Just know that you have an opportunity to compete in a contest with other Toastmaster clubs around the world, and that's through the brand portal. Now, I spent time talking about the brand portal more so than I actually thought I would, simply because there is so much here on this page. It really exposes us to how we can brand our clubs, what we can do to make our websites better. And again, you'll notice the color scheme is similar to what I use with my PowerPoint presentation. It's just different colors are highlighted, but it's the same color. So my burgundy is the same burgundy as the burgundy you see in the Toastmasters banner, and the gray that you see on the sides for the tabs, that gray was in my PowerPoint presentation up top in the little color blocks as well. So I'm following the branding scheme because I use the brand manual, and you can use the brand manual as well to update your site. Yet don't forget, the real reason I brought you to the brand portal page is to expose you to the website templates link. That's where I want you to investigate more about a freetoasthost.org website, and I want you to find out if that will be a good website for you to use, or you can continue to use what you're already using. I know there are a lot of clubs already using a variety of social media pages. I say clubs should not have to pay for a website. Free Toast Host is a free website, so you would never have to pay for that. Yet there are some clubs who don't have someone who will administer a website for you, and they have members, though, that are much more comfortable with administering a social media page. If that works best for your club, go for it. Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, those are the top 3 that clubs are using. YouTube is a great way to make certain that you have a visual way to promote your members in your club. But I do pause and hesitate on that for a moment because of the Privacy Act. Remember that Toastmasters International gives us the ability to opt in or to opt out of receiving notifications. As a club, we need to make certain we get our members' permissions to be involved in photos that we post or videos that we post. Make certain you have permission of any of your members if you're posting pictures of them on social media or if you're putting pictures of them on your club website. Make sure they approve of that and that you have their approval in writing. There is a permission form that you can use, and you can find that on the Toastmasters website. Now, I mentioned YouTube because YouTube has videos, and a lot of times videos get a little sticky, so definitely make certain that you have permission. Of course, there is Instagram and Pinterest, and clubs are using those. Yet I will say this for Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, and Instagram. Know the purpose for all of those. I understand that right now, almost all of them, you can post text, you could put a video, you can have pictures, And at this point, besides YouTube being strictly for video as a video platform, all of the other ones seem to overlap. So I say be able to clearly define what you're posting on what social media platform. If you have all of them and you're posting the same thing on all of them and that's going to be your consistent way of promoting, that's fine. However, if you're only posting pictures on Pinterest and you're only putting tweets on Twitter or small posts on Twitter, know that as well. I know for me, in learning about public relations, I just remember shaking my head going, this is a lot of information. And you really do have to get very clear on why you're using the social media platforms and what you are intending to post on those platforms. Be very clear. A few years ago, I took a conference on social media, and I'll never forget the facilitator at the end in the Q&A segment. She and I was talking, and I was having a conversation with her about my personal concern with social media, because I told her, I said, it appears that you can put anything anywhere. And she said, well, you can, but you can also be very clear on what you post where, and you should have a social media plan. That was great advice. I give that to you as well. Have a social media plan. You can use all of those, and you can also add Meetup to the list, Eventbrite to the list, as well as MailChimp as well. Now, Meetup I mentioned because I do know there are several clubs in District 103 who are not using a website at all. They strictly use a Meetup group, and the Meetup group is working well for them. Do recognize, though, that Meetup costs every 6 months. If your club can handle that from your club dues, that's perfectly all right. Otherwise, consider using one of the free options, such as Free Toast or Facebook page. Eventbrite, oh, it's a great way to post your meetings where it will be out there in Google. So that way, if someone is doing a search for a Toastmaster club in the West Loop, and your club is having meetings on a regular basis in the West Loop, guess what? That'll show up in the search engine. It's also a way to make certain that when people are looking to have a place where they can visit and come and see a club live and in person, they know that your club is available. And people are going out to Eventbrite. They're not only going to Google or a search engine and typing in Toastmasters meetings, they're literally going to eventbrite.com and typing in Toastmasters and getting a list of those clubs that post their meetings on Eventbrite. I know for the Whale Toastmasters Club, we've been consistent with doing that for years. That's also how we build our guest list. So we use MailChimp to keep track of the individuals who sign up through Eventbrite to come out and visit our clubs. And we also use MailChimp to keep track of all the visitors that come to our face-to-face meetings as well. MailChimp is just simply a list service. So it helps you to build your mailing list, if you will. If you like using Excel for that, or an Access database for that, or another tool for that, that's perfectly all right. I know the district uses Constant Contact. However, as a district, we have to. We have over 4,000 members. MailChimp wouldn't give us that capability, and also it would not be free. For the district, we have to pay for our Constant Contact, yet for your club, you don't have to pay for a mailing list service. And that's why I mentioned MailChimp, although you can also use Excel. Social media pages, those give you an opportunity to have a way to be exposed with your club without having a website, yet the same 12 ideas for a website, having it work for you, can also work for your social media pages as well. I know I covered quite a few ideas here with you this evening. I am ready now to open the line for Q&A. With Q&A, you have the ability to put yourself in the Q&A queue by either hitting the Q&A icon if you're in webinar mode, or if you are in call mode, you can press *6. That will give me an opportunity to know that you have a question in which for me to answer. You can also put in the chat box any questions or comments that you have as well. And of course, the chat box is best used when you are on the webinar. I recognize that this is technology, and it will give us a chance to have more feedback. And as I am pulling up my screen so that way I can see you, I'm going back to my Q&A queue here. So I was just clicking around, making sure I checked the chat box to ensure there weren't any questions in the chat box. I'm now back at the Q&A queue. I recognize there are a few moments of silence that sometimes is helpful to give you a chance to put yourself in the queue. Therefore, I'll give you about 10 seconds to get into the Q&A queue, and I'll answer any questions that you have. Oh, this is wonderful. It appears that with the details that I've shared with you tonight, not many questions. I am going back to the chat box one more time simply to make sure that I didn't miss any questions. I see G. Vernon has a question, has a comment here. G. Vernon is saying, how long does it take to create a free Toast host site? G. Vernon, it depends on how much time you have and how detailed you want to be. Free Toast host is actually a pretty simple template, and it will come with about 5 pages automatically that all you'll have to do is fill in. 5 pages I'm thinking of are the home page, the meeting information page, a Meet Our Members page, and another page or two. You can, within a half an hour, 45 minutes, fill in most of that information. The more detailed you make the page, that will be ongoing. Or I should say, the more detailed you make the website, that will be on a more ongoing basis, because you'll find you'll end up adding more pages. You might find that your members need certain information to be added, and you'll just add that over time. But technically, let's say an hour, if even that much time. But between the 5 pages that are automatically there, you could fill those details in because you know those details of your members in your club. You can have that all filled in within an hour. Thanks for the question, G. Vernon. James Green, I see that you have a question here. I see you are asking, Cassandra, have you a preference between a Facebook group or a Facebook page and a Facebook group? James Green, I have to be honest with you, I don't have a preference for Facebook at all. Now, for me personally, now this is me speaking as a member who barely uses her own Facebook page. It's also me speaking as a member of a club who has a Facebook page where I don't see the Facebook page really being used. It's managed somewhat by me, but I have tried plenty of times to give it to some of my club members to administer, and no one really wants to administer that page. Facebook, I think people, James, really use it more actively when it's their own personal page. So for a club, it would really need to have a member who's going to be a dedicated site administrator for the page and or the group. And as far as with the page, I know the page is more business oriented. A group seems like it's more discussion oriented and community based. So if from just that standpoint, if I had to decide between the two, I would go with more of the Facebook page. Although you might be onto something with it being a Facebook group, because if it's a Facebook group and it's community oriented, that might work. But now here's a question that came into the back of my head, and of course I don't have the answer to this because I'm not really a Facebook group user. The question that came in my mind, James, is would non-Toastmaster members be able to access that Facebook group? What would be the best way to promote that group to get people to join it? So I would have some questions about how could people become a part of the group, whereas with the Facebook page, people who are searching on the site could be able to find that Facebook group for your, or that Facebook page rather, for your Toastmasters club, like that page, and now they're part of your community that way. So personally, again, James, I really don't care for Facebook at all, and especially from a club standpoint, simply because I have not really seen it be managed well. What I found mainly was the website works better for my club. Although we do have a Facebook page, we haven't explored the Facebook group. Now, I do see Maureen has said something. Maureen Jenkins says, that's the problem with Facebook group. Not all club members use Facebook. So that's the key. And actually, Mary, I would say not all our members are using our club websites either, but that's another story. That's another story. Yet, it is a good point, though, that you bring up with the Facebook, if they're not really using it or if they don't feel comfortable with it, now they don't get some of that information as well. So thank you, Maureen. Is it Maureen or is it Marin? And I know I'm asking you that question, and I can't really verbally say that. Just know that right now I'm toying with being able to call you what your mama named you. Marin. Thank you, Marin. Did I get that right? Marin. I like that. Yes, perfect. See, I like calling people what their mama named them. And I got it right. So thanks so much, Maureen. And again, thank you for bringing up that point that not all club members are using the Facebook page. Good. And James, I see your point. You said good questions and points. Thanks. So I'm glad, James, that worked out for you. And also, James, consider you're with us, individuals who are not necessarily members of your club. I would pose that question to your club members and see what they think. And I wouldn't limit the conversation to only the club officers. Notice I said to your club members. I say that because your club members, someone within the membership, not necessarily the club leadership, may be open to the Facebook management, whether it's the page or the group. So pose that with them. See what they think. If it's not started this year, perhaps it can be rolled out for next year. Yet I think you're really in alignment with what could work best for your club, and it sounds like it could be a Facebook something or another as opposed to a Free Toast website. So thank you for the question and for the comments. And Maureen, again, thank you for your comments as well. And G. Vernon, thank you for your question too. Now, I am going to switch over really quickly, just to make sure I'm not missing anyone in the chat box. Good, good. So I don't see anyone in the Q&A queue, which means I'm going to close out the Q&A right. Great. We have just a few minutes. I'm going to make certain I put us back in lecture mode. And with closing out, as I said, I gave you quite a bit of information tonight to make certain that your club website can work. Whether it's a website, whether it's a social media page, you got some good ideas that you can use from the 12 suggestions that I gave. Now, I also want to give you some suggestions as we close out, suggestions of upcoming events for you and or your club members to attend. I want to share with you some information for March, April, and May. March, we're in that month right now, and some of you already know that the division speech contests are happening because you may have members in your club who won area and they are now competing at division. Keep in mind, all division contest winners are moving on to the district contest in April. All division contests will end on March 31st. March 21st is a special leadership event. Now, every month, the district executive committee meets for its monthly meeting to handle the business of the district. Well, this time, the meeting is being open to all members of District 103, especially the members who are interested in serving in a district leadership role for next year. If you would like to serve as an area director or a public relations manager or a public relations team member or any role at the district level, consider attending that DEC open house on March 21st. It'll be at 9 o'clock. And if it hasn't already gone out, there will be a special invitation that will hit your junk mail folder from District 103 Toastmasters in the next few days. One final idea for an event in March is to begin identifying club officers for next year. Your club should be looking at your membership and seeking members who will be interested in running for club officer or I should say serving as a club officer for next club year. You start looking for those individuals now in the month of March, because in April you'll have an opportunity to present your members or the slate of your members who want to serve as an officer at your first meeting in April. And speaking of April 1st is the deadline for you to get your District 103 Annual Conference t-shirt. Some of you attended the conference last year, and some of you own the conference t-shirt from last year. Well, we have a brand new design for this year, and the shirts are being ordered at a deep discount for all of us. Even if you're not attending the annual conference, you can get your own annual conference t-shirt. Be on the lookout. All of the messages that have gone out so far about the annual conference have had the link in which to order your annual conference t-shirt. Yet within the next week, you're going to start getting a separate message about the t-shirt ordering itself, so that way you don't miss the opportunity. We also don't want you to miss the opportunity to participate in the virtual banner parade. Remember earlier I talked about the brand contest, the photo contest that Toastmasters International has. Well, we want you to participate in the District 103 virtual banner parade. And what that simply means is get together with all your club members around your club banner. Make certain we can see the club banner with the name of your club on the banner. Take a good photo, send that in to us so that way we can put it into a virtual banner parade. It's basically a PowerPoint loop that we want to have running throughout the entire conference. There will be a special message that will go out to you as well about the virtual banner parade, and you'll also get a chance to see last year's virtual banner parade as an example if you're not really sure what the picture would look like. Speaking of the conference, April 24th and 25th, last weekend in April, is your opportunity to attend. We have great educational opportunities from our keynote speakers, Patricia Fripp, on over to our District 103 members who will be leading educational workshops. There will be the international speech contest, the table topic speech contest, installing new district leaders for next year, and we're also going to have everyone who earned an educational award last year, I should say by April 1st of last year until March 31st of this year, you will get a special invitation to attend the Achievers Recognition Banquet, reception, a lot of information. So here's the deal. Notice that the April events are all about the annual conference, and as I said, there have been messages that started going out in January about the annual conference. All of these details that are here have been in those messages. However, in the next few days, you're going to start getting separate messages about these different events so you don't miss anything. Of course, remember where I said the details will go? Your junk mail folder, yet look for that email from District 103 Toastmasters, and you just pull it out your junk mail folder, pass it on to all your members, and make certain you guys get your t-shirt, you participate in a virtual banner parade, and you come out to the annual conference. We also want you to come out to our May events. Now, I will return in May with different topics for our webinar series. I know for sure I will be working on a free Toast host, actually a website for, or a webinar rather, for setting up a free Toast host website. There are a couple of other topics that the district director has asked me to explore, so I'll be working on getting that curriculum set. That way sometime in April, you'll get all the May sessions and you'll get the registration links for those. Speaking of May, elect your club officers. Now remember I said we're in March, start looking for candidates. In April, tell your club who those candidates are who want to run for an office, and then in May, elect those members at your first club meeting in May, so that way they can serve as a club officer. Now, one more point I'll say about elections of your club officers. Once you elect your club officers in May, send that information to Toastmasters International. Let them know immediately who your new club officers will be for the upcoming club year, because the district will need those names, so we'll be able to invite those individuals to the summer TLI. And of course, you know the summer TLI is the Toastmasters Leadership Institute, where all club officers will receive their first round of club officer training. Again, elect your club officers at your first meeting in May. Finally, you've been asking for it. I finally have a date secured for it, and that is our District 103 Train the Trainer event. Many of you know about the October Train the Trainer event. You were either there or you heard about it, and you've been wondering when the next one will take place. Well, we have the date. It's going to be the last Saturday in May. The event will happen at AT&T. It will be a full-day event on a Saturday, and that will give you an opportunity to learn the difference between a trainer and a speaker. You'll also learn how to put together a presentation for a workshop. And I shouldn't say a presentation for a workshop. It will help you to learn how to construct an actual workshop, learning about objectives and how to tailor it for the audience. It also will give you an opportunity to demonstrate what you've learned. Many individuals who participated in October at the Train the Trainer event decided to demonstrate what they learned. They were able to demonstrate that they learned from the Train the Trainer event about writing objectives and creating a workshop, and they had a chance to actually demonstrate that to us at the Train the Trainer event. That led to us creating a special program called the D103 Preferred Trainers, and right now we have 7 of us, or I should say 6, exclude me, but 6 preferred trainers. And we just did a special event for them on March 7th so they could really show you their stuff. And I tell you, we all walked away with a better understanding of how to set goals, do a PowerPoint presentation, understand communication styles, and manage our emotions. They did a phenomenal job of using what they learned at the Train the Trainer event, and most importantly, demonstrating to us that District 103 has a talent for trainers. We're looking for our next crew of D103 preferred trainers. The preferred trainers over time are going to be the ones that are leading club officer training. They will be a special guest for you at open houses or whatever you might need for your club, where you might need a trainer. And also, I'm stumbling over my words because I know there's something else they'll do, and I just can't think of it right now in this moment. However, know that we are putting together a list of our talents in District 103, and it starts with the Train the Trainer event. We know many of you are great speakers, and several of you are talented trainers. We want to be able to start building our pool of talented trainers, and the Train the Trainer event will help with that. Okay. As you heard me stumbling and bumbling, you know that means it's come to the end. I have given you so much information. We covered some great questions and comments in our chat box, and I am happy to have shared with you upcoming events. I know that you get a lot of information from District 103, and I still didn't tell you about all the events and every piece of information that you could possibly get from District 103. Just yet know that I highlighted for you the key events that I would like for you to share with your members, your club leaders, and even your guests. Come on out to our annual conference in April. In April, we want to have you there. We actually want to see you at the Summer TLI. So if you're a club officer, get elected in May, get the information at the TI, and all of that. I am Cassandra Diva of Dialogue Lee, a rambling past district director, your senior advisor for this year to this year's district trio. And I am otherwise known as the Diva of Dialogue because I use divine inspiration vocally applied to educate and empower my audiences. It has been a pleasure to lead these series of webinars for you. As I said, I will resume in May. And in April, you'll get a list of what those May and June sessions will be. So I'm taking a little bit of a break to do some preparation and also to do a review of all the sessions that I've done so far. I said I'm stretching my communication skills, and this is going to give me an opportunity to take a break, take a pause, do the review. You know, we're Toastmasters, right? We do the review, we do the evaluation, and we set the next plan to execute. So that's what I'll be doing. If you have any questions for me, my email address is there. Reach out to me. Otherwise, I look forward to having you on the next session or in the next session for May. And, of course, I don't have to wait until May to see you. I'll see you sometime in April because I know you'll be at the annual conference. Everyone, have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you at the D103 Annual Conference. Take care.